Even at heritage auctions, you can pick up key comics for below fair market value. Stay tuned to see what books I've picked up next doing just that. Welcome back, comic book fans. It's Rusty again from Collector Auctions, and in today's episode, we are going to do an unboxing from Heritage Auctions. I've got a box right here that I just got in today. We're going to open it up. I know what's in there. I know what I bought. So it's not going to be too much of a surprise, especially the graded books from CGC. But I don't often do this. Most of the time, I've already opened up these Heritage Auction boxes, and I just present that to you. But I thought I would open it up today for you so you can see a little bit about how they wrap things. I don't think I've actually shown that before. But before I get into that, definitely hit that like button, slap the subscribe, and click on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my episodes that I put out every Monday and Friday at 10 a.m. All right, guys, I'm going to go find the knife, and we're going to get into this box. All right, guys, so I found the knife. We've got the box. Let's get into this. Now, as I was saying before at the very beginning of the episode today, we were going to talk about finding books on heritage auctions for below fair market value. And that's not the case in a lot of books on there, and a lot of books can be very expensive. And you've got to be careful about heritage auction with their fees. You got to understand how much more you're actually spending. You may be bidding a certain amount, but there's always the buyer's premium, and then you have taxes, shipping, credit card charges, things like that, and it does add up. And you just got to be aware of it. And in most of these cases, in fact, maybe all of these cases, I have taken that under consideration when I bid on these. So we're going to open it up, and I'll show you what I've been picking up, and I'll show you a little bit about the box. So I just unboxed it right here, and so here we have it open, and this is the way Heritage Auctions does it. Now, I think I've got about 4 books in here. I think a couple raws, a couple of slabs. As you can see, it's very bubble wrapped. So we're going to take this down. And we have a lot of bubble wrap right here. And there's my invoice. And in the middle right here, we have a very well padded, taped up, bubble wrapped package. And it has items enclosed on here. And they use this dark tape instead of a light tape to get into. Oh, and look at that. They actually put tabs for you to be able to get these open a little bit easier. That's the first time I've noticed that in the last 2 years of ordering from Heritage Auctions. That's actually pretty nice. But tell you what I'm going to do. We're going to fast forward. I'm going to go ahead and open this. It's going to be a lot of noise. I'm just going to fast forward through it, and I'll stop talking, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what I've got. All right, so I finally got through that. Yes, there's 2 rolls in here and 2 slabs. And I got to admit, them putting a little tab on that tape was fantastic. That's the easiest I've ever actually opened up a Heritage Auction box, a bubble wrapped package before. Most of the time I'm cutting through that, and by the time you're finished, sometimes you can barely even reuse some of that packaging material, that bubble wrap. But this one, the tape came right off, and I'm actually going to have a giant pile of bubble wrap that I can reuse. You guys should reuse all of the bubble wrap that you get. If you order anything like I do, I try to save all those shipping materials so I don't have to buy them again. I mean, if you guys are, as I said, like me, we spend a lot of money, we buy a lot of comics, and sometimes I sell a lot of comics, and so I don't want to have to be putting out money for shipping supplies as well. Even though I will admit, I actually buy my own boxes. I don't use priority mail boxes when I ship things out. I buy boxes just like the ones that Heritage Auction uses. In fact, when I ship my books out, I pack them just like Heritage Auctions, just like you saw, except I actually add a couple pieces of cardboard more on top and bottom just to give it a little bit more cushion and security. And I've had really good luck, and except for in a couple cases, and one was an international order, and that was a disaster, but I think that box just had to have gotten mangled. I mean, that wasn't on me, that was on the shipping, but I don't think there was much more I could have done unless I'd done a box that was 3 times as big. And giant foam on both sides. I mean, it would have taken a Herculean effort to save that book that got mangled basically, and that was a slab book, and it was bad. But generally, this has been pretty good. Heritage Auctions has always been really good when they send me the shipments, and I've gotten just about everything safe. I've only had one issue where one was cracked, and I don't think that was due to shipping. I think it was just done. It was before I got the book. It definitely got packed up that way, and they made good on it. They actually took the book back because they offered me the money to get it sent into CGC to get it fixed, and I said, you know what? I'll let you guys do it. I'm going to send it back and let you guys do it at your expense, and instead of you giving me money to do it. And that way, if Heritage Auctions didn't get the book back at the right grade, we would void that transaction, and I'd move on. If I had taken the money and gotten it regraded and didn't get the grade I wanted, then I was kind of stuck with spending some money for a book that didn't meet that grade. If that makes any sense at all. Anyway, I'm running all over the place. Let's show you the books that I picked up. This was from the most recent weekly comic book sale from Heritage Auctions. They do this every week, starting on Sunday with Golden Age, Mondays with Silver Age, and then on Tuesday with the more of the Modern Age books. And I'm looking at these, and I think these are all from the Tuesday auction. I don't think there's any Silver Age in here. I don't think any of them are old enough to go back that far. But what's nice about it is if you win anything on any of those 3 nights, it all goes under one invoice, one shipment, and you don't have to do separate shipments for each day or anything like that. It just, at the very end, they send you an invoice for everything that you won and give you a summary of what you won and the total and everything like that. And it's pretty easy. So anyway, let's get into the books. That's what we're here for, right, guys? As I said, some of these were on my goals list. Some of these were just good value. And the first one here is what I picked up was just a good value book. And a running theme that we're going to have right now in this comic book community is that the market is really down. We're under what's the word? I can't remember the word, but basically the prices are resetting. I can't remember the word. What's the word for that? Yeah, I'm having a brain fart right there. But that's why you can buy books at what is below fair market value, and that's what I'm doing with all of these. And I'm talking about the value, and I'm just telling you I'm buying them from below fair market value. I don't actually have the prices with everything right here in front of me. But just know that if you go on to Go Collect and you see fair market value, everything I've bought is below what you're seeing there, which is kind of nice. And some of these are replacement books, some of these are upgrades, and some of these, again, are for future consideration. I might send in one of these or 2 of these for a signing down the road. But let's just start with the first one here. I picked up Daredevil 233, the last story of the Frank Miller Born Again storyline with Daredevil. This is, and I bought it as a 9.8. And again, buying these things from below market value. I've got a 9.6 of this that's actually signed by Frank Miller, and I was really disappointed in that. I thought I cleaned and pressed that book really good, and I thought it deserved a 9.8. Didn't get it, but I bought this for maybe a future consideration for a Frank Miller signing down the road. Otherwise, this is a good book. This is a book I'll hold on to, and hopefully when we get the Born Again storyline on Disney Plus with Charlie Cox, maybe this book will actually pick up in value again. So this is going to be one of those, I want to hold on to it for a little while and see where it goes. We picked that up. Here, I'm just going to set it back here. Let's see. Can you see it? Yeah, there you go. And then the other graded book. Now, this is a replacement. And give me 1 second here. They actually taped the bags that the CGC slabs came in. I'm not particularly a fan of that. But I picked this up mostly because I had a 4.5 that I bought, I think, last year. And it was really just to get it back into my PC. And paid a little bit of money for it. I actually sold it for a decent price. I probably more like a break-even price. I can't even remember. And it was a book I had as a kid when I was growing up, and I wanted to get a much better copy because that original copy was a reader copy. I wasn't collecting comics, I was reading comics, and I had it, and it was a key first appearance of this character. And I had wanted to get a much higher grade. Now, this grade right here is about a half step below the one that I wanted. And I'll tell you, and I'll just show it to you. It is Marvel Premiere number 15, the first appearance of Iron Fist. And it's an 8.0. I would have preferred an 8.5. But the price on this was significantly below fair market value. And it got me in the neighborhood of where I want to be with this. And I kind of, like I said, I wanted an 8.5. And the reason I wanted an 8.5 is because about a month or so ago on Elite Comics 11 on Instagram, they were on location at some store in Kentucky. And I won or claimed it had an Iron Fist or Marvel Premiere 15 as an 8.5. I actually put in a bid and I got it for $185. I mean, that's fine. Oh, wow, that's a great price for that. And I don't know what happened. I never received my notification or anything. And I think what happened was two things. One, they just kind of skipped over it, or two, they realized that they really didn't get the money they wanted for that book at that point. Because a lot of times I'll see 8.5s and they'll be going for $300, $325, $350. And this one came up on Heritage Auctions. I've been keeping an eye out on every one I've been seeing. And yes, I wanted an 8.5, but an 8.0 is really good. It's a big upgrade from my 4.5. And it was at a decent price. And I said, okay, fine. Go ahead and pick it up. It gets you back in that ballpark. It's a respectable grade. And now you can have something that's it's a lot more valuable than the 4.5 that you can trade in or trade up to. It has a little bit bigger bargaining chip down the road. So yes, I do want a better grade of this at some point, but that might be a 2024 goal. Right now, I'm really happy to have this as an 8.0 though. So there you go. There's a little story about that right there. And before you ask, yes, no, I did not. I did not contact Elite Comics 11 about that. I probably should have. I just let it go, figuring, okay, fine. I didn't actually spend any money. That was good. Sometimes not spending money is okay. So I just let it go, and maybe that's on me. Here, hang on. There you go. But in the end, I ended up with an 8.0 for a pretty decent price. I mean, nothing like that 185 or 175 or whatever it was. I was at 185. I think that's what it was that I had put in on that claim sale. But this was pretty close to that. I mean, to be honest, that 185, I mean, you're not going to touch that. That was the ridiculous price for that book at that grade. So I can understand why maybe they didn't want to accept that, if that was the case. But I can't prove it, and I don't know. I'd have to go back and ask about that. It's water under the bridge at this point. We've moved on. We've obviously got a new copy, and that's really good for the PC. All right, so I've got somewhere here. Where did it go? I've got two books. One of them is kind of a goals list, and one is definitely not a goals list. And I'm going to take it out of the bag, and I'm going to be real careful with it. I picked up this, and it was sometimes I'm on Heritage Auctions looking at the things I want to get for my PC that I really know that I want, and I've earmarked them, I bookmarked them, and they're for my goals list, and maybe sometimes they're just for speculation, or maybe sometimes it's for a future want list. Like, okay, that's a book you should get. And this kind of popped up, and I kind of bought this on condition. And I'm starting to get into some of the early 70s Batman. And I remember this cover when I was a kid. I remember seeing it in the ads in the other DC comics at the time. It was when I was first reading comics, and I should say more than just reading Casper and Richie Rich and Donald Duck and Uncle Scrooge, and more than the funny animal books. I was starting to read Marvel and DC stuff too. And I never had this, but as I said, I bought this on condition. It was actually a pretty nice copy of Batman 246. And I'm going to set it here real gently so you guys can see it. And the reason I'm doing that is the bag and board that it came in has the big sticker on there, and I don't want you to have to deal with the sticker. So I'll put it back in just a second. But I always loved this cover. There was a lot of covers from the late 60s and early 70s where you have Robin basically dying. And I always loved this cover. I mean, like I said, I saw it in one of the house ads and one of the other DC books at the time. I don't even know which one it was, but I do remember this book. And I decided, okay, this is something that I can go down and just start collecting a little bit. As I said, I'm opening that door to some of these early DC, I shouldn't say early DC, I should say early 70s DC books. And you can see where I'm going. It's going to be some of these Batman keys and non-keys with some of these fantastic covers. It's going to be some Neil Adams stuff. Yeah, I think this is Nick. I'm not even sure. I think this is Adams. It probably is. But regardless, it's just, that was a book that's more of like let's just pick it up and we'll go from there kind of thing. It's not a want, it's not a need. It was an impulse buy completely. All right. So the last Raw book that I got in this particular order, and give me 1 second. I've got this one. Actually, they have it in the bag and the board, within the bag and the bigger bag and the board. And let me take a look at this real quick. Oh wow, this is a really nice copy. And back to my point about buying for below fair market value, that also not only applies to the graded books, it also applies to these books right here. Now, you are taking a little bit more of a chance with the condition. I mean, they've graded them from Heritage Auctions, and you're going off of their condition. They do give you really good photos, and that's probably the best photos you're going to find on any auction site. But even not being able to pick up the book and see books at an angle and see where the light sees bends and color breaks and things like that, it's definitely, you're going off a little bit of trust that their grading's pretty close or very conservative. And my past history with Heritage, especially on Raws, is that they are pretty conservative with the grading, and with a little bit of work in the shop, clean and press, you can bump things up by, if it comes out and it's graded a very fine or a very fine plus, and you're in that 8.5, 8.0 range with a little bit of work and just a little bit of a press and cleaning, you can get it up to a 9.0 or 9.2 sometimes. And most of the time I've gotten bumps on just about everything. Well, that was the case with this right here. I thought I bought this at a really good price. They had this listed, let me see if I got it on the, yeah, they had this listed as a very fine. And I took a look online, and the biggest damage that I could see on here is that the bottom left-hand corner on the front, on the spine, is a little blunted. But I don't see hardly any spine ticks. I don't see any dog ears. I can see a little bit of need of repress, but let me show you this book. This is spectacular. This is All-Star Comics number 58 with that great Mike Grell cover. And this is the first appearance of Power Girl. Now, this is a big key. And I've got a copy that I bought from down in Charlotte from, not this year, but last year. I bought one on my first trip down to Charlotte. It was before Heroes Con even. I bought a copy of this from the Heroes Aren't Hard to Find store. It was one of the 3 books that I bought from that store. And I still have it. I've cleaned and pressed it, but I still hadn't got it into CGC. I'm really backed up with what I'm submitting these days. So that's a book. And I think this is actually in even a better condition than the one that I bought. So this is a book. It's definitely just like that Batman. They're going to go into the shop, but this is a book that will definitely go to CGC before the Batman book. And I'm excited about this. This has just been an ongoing key. This is a book that just has a lot of legs. A lot of people love this book. And yeah, looking forward to getting into CGC. But So that was all during 1 week of Heritage Auctions. Now, the prior week, I actually did win something. Now, I did break it out, so I'm not going to do an unboxing with that. But I thought I'd show it to you. I have one more book. And this is definitely a goals book for the year. And again, fair market value, below fair market value. And even going on eBay, you can't even touch the price. And on eBay, you're paying another $100, $150 for a book like this at this grade. Let me show it to you. It is X-Men 131. The first cover appearance of the White Queen, part of the Dark Phoenix saga. And it's at a 9.6. And guys, fans of the channel will know that this is my sweet spot. This is what I'm shooting for the John Byrne X-Men run from 108 all the way up to 143, is to get a complete set of at least a 9.6 on this. And I hadn't had this. I want to say I've got a 9.2 that I had bought, but my raws that I've got on this, I don't know if it'll quite meet that 9.6. And with the market, again, market's down, good time to buy. You can find, that's why I go to Heritage Auctions. I think you can find good deals on Heritage Auctions. That's the whole point of the video today, is finding good deals like this on there. And that's what I did. So I've added another one of these right here off of that list, that John Byrne list. And I couldn't be happier with this. I mean, this is a direct version. I'm not a newsy snob or anything, but whether it's newsstand or direct, it doesn't really bother me one way or the other. I just want these books in my PC. But that's it, guys. That's it for today. That's what I've picked up from Heritage Auctions. If you guys have been buying from Heritage Auctions and if you've got any good deals, tell me about it by leaving me a comment in the comment section below. But that's it for today. Guys, if you like anything you see on the channel, though, and you want to reach out to me and it's something you're interested in, just leave me a email at collectorauctions@yahoo.com or DM me on my Instagram account. The links are down below. And if you want to see what I currently have for sale, definitely check out my eBay store or my Shortbox page. I've got those links in there as well. That's it. Enough of the sales pitch. I'm out of here, guys. You guys have a great day. I will see you for the next episode. But before I go, remember, every comic has a story.